All right, guys. So I caught this very, very, very fascinating but sad segment of Charlamagne Tha God's show, in which he's interviewing Kamala Harris. And by the way, I don't understand for the life of me why in the world would somebody call themselves the God. Okay, I'm not calling you the God. I'm just saying that so that you guys know like who he is. But I'm just going to refer to him as Charlamagne from here on out because I just feel like it's so disrespectful when people refer to themselves as gods and deities. Okay, I find that just to be, uncomfortable for me to address him in that way. But anyways, Charlamagne was interviewing Kamala Harris, and Kamala popped off on Charlamagne because Charlamagne stepped out of line. Right, he actually asked some difficult questions about why the Biden administration or the Manchin administration, right, is not getting the agenda passed. Right, and I watched this whole interview, guys, and I want to give you guys a summary before we actually get into the part where Kamala actually kind of goes off on Charlamagne for basically not tossing her softball questions and not letting her get away with not actually answering Charlamagne's questions. But throughout the whole interview, Charlamagne was really focused on Joe Manchin, right, and the fact that Joe Manchin basically is the reason why Biden's Build Back Better agenda is not passing, the second half of his so-called infrastructure plan. Okay, the families plan, the social spending package that Elon Musk said should be thrown away, right? Should be deleted. Okay, so Charlamagne is focused on that. He's asking her very specifically, like, what are you guys gonna do about Joe Manchin, right? What are you gonna do? Again, this is questioning from the left, right? He's coming at Kamala from the left. Okay, and somebody on the right, hey, I don't really mind what Joe Manchin's doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm with Elon Musk. It should be deleted. But he's asking her very legitimate questions like, what are you guys going to do about Joe Manchin? And Kamala, the whole interview, is basically deflecting. She's blaming Republicans, right? She's talking about the attack on democracy. She's talking about everything except actually talking about what are they going to do about Joe Manchin's opposition to the bill. So Charlamagne does not let up, okay? He basically keeps asking the same question, trying to get her to actually address that throughout the whole interview until basically Kamala and her team had enough, right? In which Simone Sanders, who's leaving her team, by the way, basically comes in and tries to stop the interview short, but Kamala doesn't necessarily do that. Instead, she uses it to basically put Charlamagne in his place, and Charlamagne falls into place like the pawn that he actually is. So without further ado, I want you guys to actually watch the clip of Kamala basically putting Charlamagne Tha God in his place. Take a look.
All right, who's the superhero that's going to speak against Joe Manchin? No. I want to know who's the real president of this country. Is it Joe Biden or Joe Manchin?
I'm sorry. I interrupted. I don't think the vice president can hear you. It's Simone. I'm so sorry, Charlamagne. We have to wrap.
She can hear me.
You can hear me? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me, Madam Vice President?
So I'm sorry. We got to wrap.
Oh.
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
They're acting like they can't hear me. Y'all see that?
I can hear you.
Oh, so who's the
I
real?
can hear you.
So who's the real president of this country? Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden, Madam Vice President?
Come on, Charlamagne.
Come
on. It's Joe Biden.
I can't tell sometimes.
No. It's Joe Biden, and don't start talking like a Republican about asking whether or not he's president.
Do you think Joe Manchin is a problem?
It's Joe Biden, and I'm vice president, and my name is Kamala Harris. And the reality is, because we are in office, we do the things like the child tax credit, which is going to reduce black child poverty by 50%, on track to do that. We do things that are about saying that our Department of Justice is going to do these investigations and require that we end chokeholds and have body cameras. It is the work of saying we're going to get lead out of pipes and paint because our babies are suffering because of that. It is the work of saying people who ride public transit deserve the same kind of dignity that anybody else does. So let's improve that system. It is the work of saying that we have got to bring down prescription drug costs because folks who have diabetes should not be dying because they don't have enough money in their pocket. It's about saying black maternal mortality is a real issue that must be treated by everybody, including the White House, as a serious issue. I hear the frustration, but let's not deny the impact that we've had. and agree also that there is a whole lot more work to be done. And it is not easy to do, but we will not give up, and I will not give up.
I just want you to know that Madam Vice President, that Kamala Harris, that's the one I like. That's the one that was putting the pressure on people in Senate hearings. That's the one I'd like to see more often out here in these streets. Thank you for joining us, Madam Vice President.
I'm glad to be with you.
Absolutely.
Glad to be with you.
Appreciate you. Give Maya my love too, and Doug.
All right, you take care. Give your family my love. I want to see those babies.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, so that was just flat out embarrassing for Charlamagne. It really was. How do you get checked by the least popular person in this country, the least popular politician in this country? You just got checked, okay? She put you in your place. She said, boy, if you don't sit down and stop asking me these hard questions that you know I don't want to answer, I will never interview with you again, okay? And you can see how at the end, when Charlamagne asked her a very specific question, who the hell is running this country? Is it Joe Manchin or is it Joe Biden? Kamala attacks Charlamagne and says, don't talk to me like a Republican, right? Like, don't come at me with Republican talking points, even though he's actually not using Republican talking points. He's actually coming at Kamala from the left. He's coming at her from the perspective of a progressive, right? He's coming at Kamala from her left, okay? And Kamala goes into, once again, a non-answer. And then at the end, after that non-answer, look how Charlamagne Tha God kisses the ring, right? He gets on both of his knees and starts kissing Kamala's feet. Oh, Kamala, thank you for coming on. And, you know, this is the kind of Kamala that I like to see, the fiery Kamala fighting in the Senate. Bruh, she didn't answer the question. She didn't answer the question. So why are you giving her praise at the end of an interview when you literally could not get the answer to the question that you've been asking her the whole interview? She's literally been deflecting and refusing to answer the question the whole interview, but yet you kissed the ring at the end after she put you in your place. Again, that's embarrassing. It really is. Again, you know, and this is not the first time this has happened to Charlamagne. This is the same dude that let Joe Biden tell him that if you don't vote for me, right, you ain't black, right? These people constantly get checked by the Democrats and put into their place, and they literally have nothing to say, right, when it's happening in real time. But yeah, you guys are going to go right back out there and continue to vote for these people like they're actually working on your behalf. Kamala talks about police reform. If Kamala really wanted police reform, the Democrats really wanted police reform, they would just work with Tim Scott. They've been negotiating with Tim Scott. They don't want to do the reasonable thing that Tim Scott wants to do, which is a conservative incremental change. They want to basically federalize police, right? That's what they want to do. Tim Scott doesn't want that. They don't want to meet Tim Scott in the middle. They don't want to work with the Republicans on police reform. And ultimately, in the day, that's not the only promise that the Democrats have failed on. Charlamagne, during this interview, asked her about student loan debt. Right, forgiving student loans. They've already come out and basically said they're not doing that. Matter of fact, they're restarting it. People got to start paying up again. Again, I don't disagree with any of these things, right, that's happening. But I understand Charlamagne and his frustration because he's coming at her from the left. And the Biden administration / the Kamala administration made all these promises to the left. But again, the question is, why are you still voting for these people, right? Why are you still voting for them? Considering the fact that they come out here and give you these empty promises every single election season and they never execute on it. Now what the Democrats are doing, because they know they can't get this Build Back Better bill passed, they're now shifting towards, well, you guys got to vote for us so we can give you guys voting rights. Guys, I mean, listen to this. Listen to this. You have to vote for us in the midterms so you guys can have the ability to vote. Right? That's what they're saying. That's the new, like, pitch, right? That's the new thing they're trying to say. And they think that that's going to get people to come out and vote. That's why they continue to talk about democracy being under attack, okay? That we don't have a democracy in this country anymore. Because they're afraid that they're going to get swamped in the midterms. They know they're going to get swamped, and they're already coming up with their excuse. They're already trying to tell people, hey, well, you know, we don't have democracy anymore. You guys got to come out here and vote for us so we can give y'all voting rights, a.k.a. federalize the elections, right? Have control of how states run their elections, okay? So that Democrats can maintain more power, right? That's really what it's all about, okay? The Democrats, their only interest is getting people to vote for them so that they can maintain power and they can stay in office. They're not really trying to execute on any of their promises, okay? Because I understand why Kamala really doesn't want to answer the question about Joe Manchin, but there actually is an answer. If they actually really wanted the Build Back Better bill to pass, or put it this way, because I do think they want it to pass, they want to get it done. If they actually really wanted to get Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema on board, if they wanted to force them to vote yes on it, Kamala and Joe would basically come out and say, all right, Joe and Kyrsten Sinema, if you guys don't want to get on board with this, we're just going to primary you. Because at this point, you guys are basically Republicans, right, in regards to getting in the way of our main agenda. So what is the point of having you in the Senate if you're not going to help us execute on our agenda? So we're just going to primary you. And we're going to put all the resources that we have into getting you out of office, right? That's literally what they would say if they really, really, really wanted to pass the Build Back Better plan. However, that's not what they're saying, okay? They're trying to handle Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema with kid gloves because they're afraid to lose those seats. And to be quite honest with you, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, they have all the leverage in the world because, again, they could easily lose their seats to Republicans, right? And also, Biden's agenda and his approval ratings aren't exactly favorable to the American people, right? Him and Kamala's. So it's not like they really have all that much sway anyways, okay? So there's nothing they can really do about Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. And I understand why she's not really trying to answer the question, but you gotta actually address it, right? The dude is asking you a very pointed question. You gotta actually address it and say, hey, listen, there's nothing that we can do about Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema right now. They are acting in the best interest of their states, or what they feel is the best interest of their states. It might not necessarily be in the best interest of the whole country, but we feel like they're acting in the best interest of their states. That is the answer that you give. Because at that point, you put it on the citizens of those states rather than trying to actually really attack them. Okay, you're not really attacking them from a character perspective or even politically. You're just saying, well, they're just acting in the best interest of their states, and we're going to try to work with them and work our bill so that it is in the best interest of their states, and that's how we're going to try to get them on board with our agenda. That's the answer that she actually should have gave. And you would think that she would be aware of the questions that Charlamagne was going to ask her, considering how tight that her and Charlamagne apparently are, right? She's been on Charlamagne's show before, okay? That was the show that she was on when she was talking about how much weed she smoked in college, right? Listening to Tupac, okay? So, I mean, look, my thing is this. Again, Charlamagne, why do you continue to let these Democrats run over you, bro? I understand that you want to be in, okay? I understand that somebody like you in your position interviewing the vice president of the United States is, you're punching above your weight class, okay? Like, I get it. I understand, okay? I 100% get it. You want to continue that relationship. You don't want to sour that relationship. But at the end of the day, they made a promise to the progressives, and they're not executing on those promises for the most part. And there's nothing wrong with holding her accountable and letting her check you like that as a man, right? Letting the vice president, this woman, check you, put you in your place like that. Kind of embarrassing in my opinion, especially considering how you're asking her very legitimate questions that she should have an answer for, okay? So like I said, man, I found that interview to be absolutely fascinating, and how Kamala's team tried to cut it off, okay, when they didn't want to answer the question, but Kamala just decides to unload on Charlamagne, and then he falls into place. Again, it's entertaining stuff. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.